Hi, and welcome to this brief video, which will take us through a whole 26 points for marketing your practice as a mediator. But this video will also apply to any kind of neutral. So if you're an arbitrator, if you're an investigator, if you're a coach, it's going to be highly relevant for you. As I said, this video will be short. If you're looking for a longer presentation, then go ahead and sign up for one of my free webinar recordings. You'll get all of that if you sign up for my newsletter. So that's the easiest way of ensuring that you get all of the free content. All right, with that said, let's get started. First of all, just to help contextualize this space, the biggest challenges for most neutrals are these three key things. These are what most of the neutrals that I speak to desire. It's to obtain more cases, to obtain cases more consistently, and also to some extent get help with connecting with more parties and converting these connections into actual business relationships. So this has a lot to do with the strategy and the direction of the practice. Now, with that said, I want to start with point number 1, understanding your ecosystem. And that's really the first thing that you need to do. Even if you already have an active practice, you should always start off with mapping your ecosystem when you start fresh with business development. And this essentially means identifying which entities and individuals that are in scope for your services. And your ecosystem can be a combination of referral parties, clients, and the actual parties themselves. It all depends on the type of practice that you have. Number 2 is to look at the target audiences. So when you know what your ecosystem looks like, then you can move on to mapping the entities and individuals that make up that ecosystem. And the question that you really should be answering here are what the drivers and challenges are of these individuals. And once you know the answers to these questions, then you will be able to define your unique value proposition. And in some cases, it will be possible for you to have a unique value proposition, completely unique. Other times, you will have to settle for something similar to what your peers are offering. Having said that, you will be in a much better position when you're equipped with the knowledge about your target audience and your ecosystem, because most of your peers won't be. And this knowledge will enable you to communicate and interact better with your target audiences, as you will see in the coming points. Develop a mediation niche, and a mediation niche can be beneficial for mediation marketing as it will allow you to position your services so that they stand out. And a niche can be the only area that you focus on. It can also be part of a broader range of services that you provide. You can select to work with only a particular type of case, a specific type of client or types of clients, or a combination of the two. That's variations of niche focus areas. If you already have an active niche, then you can find ways of enhancing that niche by communicating around it in your online and offline visibility. And furthermore, you can include it in your engagement and interaction with your target audiences. And use the knowledge about your ecosystem and target audience to populate your website, social media, and other online channels with content that resonates with your target audiences. Too often, mediators will use standardized texts that simply describe their services rather than putting themselves in the shoes of their prospective clients and referral parties. Apply the knowledge from the previous exercise to enhance your visibility and presence offline as well. The offline visibility plays a key part of your overall presence and will, for example, involve the kind of print material that you use. Depending on the type of practice that you have, search engine optimization, or SEO, can be a very effective way of enhancing your online presence. SEO will typically be relevant if your target audience consists of the parties themselves, the end clients, as they are more likely to use search engines for finding mediators like you than attorneys would be. So if you get most of your cases from the attorneys themselves, then SEO will generally be of less importance. If you're interested in learning more about search engine optimization for mediators, then there are plenty of articles about this topic on my blog. So, becoming part of listings, both on and offline, will help contribute to general presence, but it will also do so from a search engine optimization perspective, provided that SEO is set up correctly. So listings can, as a result, both lead to direct and indirect business for you. Panels and rosters can be a great source of visibility for you, and they will, for some, also become a great source of revenue. Joining will come with its own set of requirements, and you may not be able to do so immediately. It will, however, be generally worth it in the long run to join panels. Revenue and visibility aren't the only positive outcomes of being inducted in a panel or being part of a roster. By doing pro bono work, you will be able to build up your reputation as well as your experience, which will be an integral part of your mediation marketing efforts. Since the lack of cases and experience often are two of the main challenges that mediators face, pro bono work can effectively help resolve those challenges and allow you to further leverage off of positive momentum. First, acquire the knowledge of what type of content that resonates with your target audience, then start incorporating it in your online communication. Making the most of LinkedIn is a science in itself, but initially the most important thing for you to do is to communicate regularly. That will build up your presence over time, and it will also help you with learning how to position your services, as well as understand what your target audience cares about. Even though the online space is taken over more and more, there's still value in featuring in paper publications and other types of offline presence. And some of these may even be highly targeted to your particular target audience. And you're also going to be able to enhance your visibility through, for example, research papers and the publishing of books, just to name a few other options. Even though video and audio like podcasts may not be new, they are still relatively unexplored territory for most mediators. Consider experimenting with these if you're unfamiliar with them, and make these communication channels a part of your visibility arsenal. In-person visibility is one of the most effective ways of establishing visibility and creating a sense of familiarity between you and your target audience. And enhancing your in-person visibility can be done in many different settings, where you would, for example, speak, host, or participate in various events and functions. The key challenge is balancing the choice of visibility effort with the time, cost, and effort it takes to participate. It's all too easy to just get busy and not achieve the desired outcome. And by being more visible and engaging with your target audiences as well as with your peers, you will be able to build up a significant knowledge base. And that knowledge will ultimately be very valuable and interesting to your audiences. So use this in all of your interaction and communication to help cultivate relationships quicker. And networking the right way isn't done by going to conferences aimlessly. It's done by knowing who your target audience is and what they care about, then using that knowledge for engaging and interacting in a structured way. Networking is done both in person as well as online. In parallel to the growth of virtual and online mediations, there's also growth in the acceptance of interacting and cultivating relationships online. That's why it's important that you learn how to do so correctly. Use social media to engage and interact with your target audience and gradually cultivate relationships that you can move from the online space to the offline space. The objective should generally be to speak over the phone, video call, meet in person after initial contact has been established online. Use your knowledge and relationships to reach out and engage with your prospective referral parties. This is a process which requires patience and perseverance. It can, however, be hugely impactful if done correctly. As with referral parties, you can and should reach out to engage directly with your prospective clients, parties, in situations where those are in scope for your particular type of practice. This will naturally not always be the case. An insurance or labor and employment mediator will have little use for this, but a non-commercially oriented mediator may. The engagement will likely not be at an individual level, but rather through forums where groups of individuals can be reached. Always deliver value when interacting with your target audience. And what value is will really depend completely on the context and the interaction of the particular situation. Ultimately, doing a good job is one of the strongest forces in mediation marketing. Doing a good job and being someone reliable is crucial in your relationships and reputation building processes. Once you've built up a strong relationship by doing a good job and becoming a person of value, you can leverage off that relationship. You may have heard the expression that it's much easier to sell to an existing client than to a new one. Well, the same rationale applies to a mediator. It's generally easier to get more referrals from existing referral sources than to develop and cultivate new ones. As you want to make sure that you only are spending time on impactful activities, you should regularly review what you're doing and the results produced of those activities. If something isn't working as well as it should, then see if you can improve it through small or even significant changes. If the activity continues to produce little results after a tweaking process, you should stop doing it. Your time is scarce, and since producing results tend to have a delayed effect, you need to only focus on the few activities that make sense. More and more mediators realize the benefits of being able to conduct online or virtual mediations as a way of providing versatility in their services, as well as conducting mediations without geographical restrictions. And in recent times, this area has virtually exploded. And if you want to learn more about how to do online mediations, then there's plenty of content on my blog and website. The first step when conducting virtual and online mediations is naturally knowing how to do it. The next step is learning how to promote your practice. And this step is something which very few mediators master, which leaves them kind of in the same situation as with business development and marketing in general. There's a lack of cases and a lack of consistency in case generation. Online mediation marketing is in many ways similar to mediation marketing in general, with some minor differences. Because as you now are able to capture a broader target audience, it may not be sufficient to do the exact same things that we've talked about here in this article so far. Going through all of the action points, though, will definitely help you get started. One of the critical challenges with virtual mediation marketing is that even though you may know how to conduct an online mediation and know how to market your practice, you will still depend on counsel and their parties to be open to it. Without knowing how to engage with these parties, it will be hard for you to unlock these conversations. So understanding the dynamics of what it takes to progress will ultimately decide how much business you can do in this space. Again, if you would like to learn more about how to convince counsel to use online dispute resolution, virtual mediations, then have a look at my blog because there are articles on that topic. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this very brief video. The question is, if you like this sort of content and you like the ideas, what can you do if you're interested in taking your business to the next level? Well, I offer you two different solutions. The Academy and the Accelerator programs. So let me tell you about each of those. First is Academy, and it's essentially a 15 hours online training program. The Accelerator program is based on one-on-one coaching, and we'll go through them now in detail. The Academy program, like I said, is based on over 15 hours of video training. A lot of worksheets, checklists, and tutorials. You'll also get access to a community of peers, which is a private LinkedIn group, and accountability partners, as well as monthly group calls. The Accelerator program is based on one-on-one coaching for 6 months. The content is structured around 10 milestones, which essentially will systematically take you through creating and implementing a marketing and growth plan for your business. You'll also get access to private clients only group, as well as a group chat where you can interact with the other members of the program. And finally, you'll get access to monthly Zoom calls as well as workshops on a regular basis. If you're interested in finding out more about the Academy program and the Accelerator program, then go ahead and click the links below. Thank you very much for listening in.